So, do you try and execute tasks, but they never end up getting done? Or do you have a bunch of unfinished work that you sort of lose a little bit of momentum doing, right? Or perhaps you make the perfect plan and then you finally sit down at your computer and then you don't actually end up doing them. What we're going to do today is discuss possible ways to overcome such problems. And we're going to go straight to the slides now and talk about focus tools. Focus tools are little helpers, things people code, whatever you need to do, that will help you actually stick to what you need to do and just do what you need to do. Okay, so this is actually part of a coding mindset course, but the mindset can be used for anything really. So math problems, you're doing some sporting events or whatever. We are going to talk about some of the focus tools you can use to get what you need to do done. And here is the mindset course. This is my school community. If you really enjoy this presentation, if you get value from it, come back to this and we'll set you up. Hopefully we can get you with the optimal mindset. Okay, now back to the slides. So the core idea is to design your environment for flow and not fight distractions, right? Not think about fighting them, but eliminate distractions. So, little hint, right? If you eliminate the distractions, you end up not having to use any willpower because they're just not there. Okay. So, environment will beat willpower because willpower is a finite resource, but in a way, environment is permanent because you are not exerting anything for your environment to be a certain way. All you need to do is have a little bit of setup right at the start, maybe arrange your bubble gum or arrange the house or make it smell nice, and then it's done, it's set in stone, and that's it. And you're not burning any willpower, maybe just a little bit at the start to clean the house, but other than that, you're all good to go. So, one good setup, right? One good setup of environment can equal infinite willpower or like infinite focus in a session. That's amazing. Wouldn't you want that? And one moment of willpower is equal to one unit of distraction avoidance, but you'll have many units of distraction avoidance. So you have to give many bits of willpower throughout your study session or your work session. So the takeaway here, right, is you want to engineer it once, engineer your environment, and then benefit forever. Okay, so I always do the key takeaway at the start of the slides, and then I will go into more depth. So you'll get the meat of it right up, and you can take a screenshot of this, write it down, and then we'll go into more detail and do all that thing. So the 3 points here essentially: eliminate friction, one workspace, zero notification. Right. So an example: you are getting up tomorrow and you plan to exercise. So what could eliminate friction? Maybe you sleep in your exercise clothes or have them right next to you, right? Or just have your shoes ready to go for a run. Make sure there's like no friction. Then you want apps. You want apps or tools that'll keep you focused. For example, I use the Stay Focused app, which will literally block everything on my phone, Freedom, Cold Turkey, whatever. Find an app, find something, and then keep a distraction list, right? So sometimes it's just so overwhelming, right? No matter how focused you are, you just get distracted. You get distracted. So what I suggest you do is you need a way to let that out. And you can either actually indulge in the distraction or you can write it down. So you have a little list. I've got a little list here. Little lists. Where is it? That's my wins book. I have a distraction list. Honestly, it's nothing much. It is actually just a little notebook. I switch out every. I put it back. Switch out every so often. So write down your distractions. Don't switch and do them. Okay. So eliminate friction. Your physical workspace. That is part of your environment. So dedicated coding space. One dedicated coding space, or if you're a mathematician, one dedicated thing. So actually, I have two screens going on here, but I think the setup works well for me. But this is just my dedicated coding space. Very minimal. I just have the code in front of me right here. And then to the side, I have all the AI tools and maybe a little bit of Google if I need to Google some code or something like that. And it works. Keep it clean, and everything within reach. So for example, I've got my little coaster. I put my coffee there. It's all set up. I've got my little mic if I want to stream right here. Got my keyboard. You know, I got everything. Got my lights if I want to stream something. I got books over here. Got some coding books behind me if I need to, you know, reference something in the coding world. So I have everything set up very easily, and there's not much visual clutter here. It's just the monitors, the books below me, keyboard, everything's wiped down. It's actually fairly nice. It's actually a nice, pleasant thing to be a part of, right? Now, your digital workspace, right? The digital workspace. So what is on your computer? One browser profile. So you have a dedicated, I have many browser profiles, but I have many different Steves. I have Work Steve. I have one associated browser profile for that. And then I have Steve. I do salsa from time to time outside work. And so I have a browser profile that looks up salsa videos, right? So now I'm on Work Steve. I'm streaming a video. I'm using that browser profile, right? Bookmark essential things, for example, Stack Overflow or maybe GitHub or things like that. So you can just quickly and effortlessly go to where you need to go on the internet without having to Google things. And then because every step, every click you make, there is a possibility that you may get distracted along the way. Okay, and then desktop, keep it empty. Maybe you can have a few things, quick links and stuff like that. What I do is I made a little program, right? That is a website and holds every single link I need. So for example, the work email, or perhaps the school community, or my GitHub, or things I'm learning at the moment. I just put them there. So I never actually go on the internet and Google things. I just go straight to the site I programmed and I just click the link and I'm there straight away, so I don't get distracted. And a single IDE window, you can have two, a single one or maybe two or three or something, but you don't need to cause too much chaos. Honestly, I think this one sort of depends on your style a little bit, but the takeaway is that you don't make too much chaos for yourself, essentially. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. So, the zero notification strategy. I love this because honestly, the biggest addiction I have, I think, is the phone. So I don't particularly think I have any addictions other than just checking the phone. And honestly, it sort of happened over a few years because I look at salsa videos and stuff like that. And then the algorithm knows what you want. It's engineered to be like, okay, how long can we get this guy to look at the phone and get your eyeballs and attention on the screen for as long as possible. So it's engineered quite well, but we are coders. We are technical people. So we can do some counter engineering. Okay, so use airplane mode during your sprint. So a sprint, I'm going to define as like a 90-minute work period. So maybe, so in coding, we have sprints, right? We sprint for a week. We just go all out, get a job done. So sprint, I guess in productivity, we'll define it as like a 60-minute block, a 90-minute block, or whatever of work. Make sure your phone is on airplane mode and you just don't, it's in another room. It's different. It's in another location. So you don't hear any buzzing. You don't get distracted. No one's calling you. Just set it away, get it off, get it away. And all notifications off except for favorite callers. So maybe your parents or your brother, or if you're sort of older in life, maybe you have kids or something like that. And you might need that, but set it up, program your phone so you only get calls from those people and all other notifications are gone away. Or even better, just put it on airplane mode. Okay, so so for your computer, all right, you want to disable all app notifications, which is you just sort of flick down and then you look at the settings and it's like disable notifications. It's probably like a little bell with a cross through it. It's really easy. No badges, no sounds, no banners. So you don't see like little bright light flashing or anything like that. And then also during work, so you may have to discuss this with your boss, but if you're working for yourself, you can very easily do this. So turn off Slack. Teams, like when you're in the deep work section, just exit Teams so you don't get that bloop bloop sound, which causes a lot of trauma, I remember, because you get Teams notifications, everyone's notifying everyone. It's just a lot. So you really need to hone in, deep work, focus. Okay, and close your emails. Just close them. Okay, and so the takeaway is that you want the default, right, when you're working to be silence. You want it to be silent and calm. That is the default. Okay, so use website blockers like Stay Focused, Freedom, Cold Turkey, all that good stuff. And then for the productivity, I recommend things like Pomodoro, like the Forest app is a great one. I use that one. Every time you do a deep work session, you build a little tree and it's a little bit of dopamine or something like that. Gamify Habitica is not listed there. Toggle for time tracking, Time Rescue for monitoring your activity. Stay Focused also monitors your activity. You can do that as well. So yeah, come up with whatever you need to do. Make a plan. Find some good apps if you're having trouble staying focused, and just stick to it. And good luck with it. You can absolutely do it. Okay, so distraction list. Let's get into the distraction list. So when the thought pops up of you getting distracted, don't switch tasks immediately and destroy your productivity. What I suggest you do is you write down whatever distraction came to your mind, right? That's sort of a way of releasing that tension. It's a way of, releasing that tension. So you really need that tension to be released. There's two ways of doing it. Like you can either write it down or something like that, or you actually do what you want to do, which is a distraction. So you don't want to end up doing that. So just write it down. So for example, distraction could be check email, research a new library, if you're a student or something like that, reply to Slack messages, update your resume. When you're doing deep work, call the dentist. Maybe you haven't been to the dentist in a while and you're like, oh, I need to go to the dentist because I haven't been in 6 months or something like that. And I'm going to call. No, just write it down and call them after your deep work session. So yeah. Let's move on from that. So remember, write stuff down. Just write stuff down. As in the distractions. So here I've got I love these little things. I use these little program things here because this is a coding channel. So distraction action list. So during focus block, maybe it could be from 9 to 10:30. 9 to 10:30. So yeah. So here's an example of a distraction list, right? So you've got your focus block and then you're coding and then you're like, oh, I should check my email. But you don't check your email. You just write it down. Or maybe I should look up Docker because I might want to Dockerize everything. Now, that's the trick. That's what we call productive procrastination. There's a little subtle thing there, right? Where it's like, okay, it's kind of related to my work, but not exactly related to the deep work. So that counts as a distraction, right? So you write that down. You just write it down. And then, and there's whatever, update the project README. That's another like productive procrastination thing. It's not particularly coding. It's related to the task, but it's not the task you need to do. It's not the most high important thing. So write that down as a distraction. Anything, just like blinders on, get it, like just whatever you need to do, focus on that. And then at the end of the section, look at your distraction list and be like, oh, this is actually what I got distracted by. Now I can just tick off my little productive procrastination things. So write it down, forget about the distraction, and get back to your focus. Okay, cool. So your focus dashboard, right? So here, desktop 1. Like I'm coming up with situations, right? It could be you could have your full IDE, like your terminal beside you, and then that's nothing else. Desktop 2, you could have documentation, maybe Stack Overflow, whatever. And then that's about it. Desktop 3 could be all the distracting stuff. And then I would recommend you either turn off desktop 3, right? Or you just keep it on the side or somewhere like that. Now, what I would recommend you do is, if you really want to get in focus, and the thing I've been hounding on for quite some time, is just turn off desktop 3 and have these, and only have these two going. And then if you really want to deep focus, it's you could cut out this one, right? And just get IDE going and terminal. So the pattern here is like you could have this desktop, this desktop, this desktop. And the way to sort of induce focus sometimes, if you want to, you know, fall into focus, is it's not about adding things. It's more about eliminating. It's more about eliminating things. Sometimes that is what you need. You just need to eliminate things, and that will induce a focused mind. A focused mind. Okay. So, I think I'm going to skip all these slides. I mean, hounding you about all like what you could do. You could use ad blockers, stay focused, and all that. And personal profile could be like, you know, after hours and stuff like that. So have the 1 tab rule. To be honest, as you can see, I have 3 tabs open at the moment, but there is some truth in here. Don't go for like 20 tabs. Don't go for 20 tabs. Maybe just try like 3 to 5. Here I say in the slides, 1 tab. I mean, honestly, when I have 1 tab open, I am my most productive. But sometimes you do need 2 or 3 tabs open. But don't open 15. Don't go for the 15 tabs. Don't do it. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Okay, so the physical environment. I like to talk about this one because I feel no one ever talks about it, but it is actually quite important. So make sure you have nice lighting. So it's not too dim. It's not too bright where it's like burning your face off and it's hard to see things. Just make sure the light is bright enough so it keeps you awake. And then make sure it's like you can see everything, so there's no like screen glare. It's no like you're straining your eyes. You just want to make things frictionless as possible, right? You want to set up everything so that it is just easy. Sound is another cool one. So maybe there's something in the background, like there's roadworks or something, and it's like ding, ding, ding. Maybe you want noise canceling headphones or something. Play some white noise in the background. Make sure it is just nice and relaxing, or some yoga music, whatever floats your boat, right? Whatever gets the job done. But you want it so that you're not getting distracted by the sounds. And so that might mean muting the notifications on your phone. You just want to make sure, you know, there's no distractions. And the temperature, make it like slightly a little bit cooler. So you're a little bit, you know, on edge just a bit. You're just on edge just a little bit, but you are not too cold. So don't make it too cold that you can't, like, it's a distraction that it's too cold. But if you're too warm, you're just going to be a bit lazy. You're just going to be a bit laid back. You're just going to slump into your chair, just going a bit slow. So make sure it's a little bit cool, but sort of everyone's body is different. So experiment with how cold you can go, or how warm you need to be, right? So that is the environmental setup. I think, next is before every sprint session, every little sprint, I would suggest you have a little checklist. I like this. So here's a checklist I've come up with. So put your phone on airplane mode, quit Slack, your Teams, close unnecessary tabs, open your distraction list, have it ready for when you need to write a distraction down in your distraction list or something like that. So it's not about copying this slide or taking a picture of it. It's more about just coming up with your own pre-sprint routine. So you're sort of building your mind for getting ready to work very intensely. Okay, next. So here I think I'm gonna just sort of skip some of these. Take a picture of it, for example, like to just get into flow. You can sort of set up your computer so that you have the desktop or your tabs like ready. You can just press one button and your whole work is all set up, ready to go. No like Googling to get whatever tab you need. So that is just that comes under the broader concept of making things frictionless. This slide, automation tools here, is about making things frictionless. So just take a screenshot of it and we're going to move on to the next slide. Okay, so the 2-minute rule. So if a distraction takes less than 2 minutes, still write it on the list. Why 2 minutes? So 2 minutes will break the flow, context switch it'll context switch you, and it's a slippery slope to more distractions. Everything goes on the list, right? So I would recommend I would recommend not even 2 minutes. I would even say 0 minutes or even like 5 seconds or something like that. But I think what I was trying to do when I wrote this slide was just, you don't want to spend your time on major things. So maybe, I don't know, maybe I was trying to be like, oh, if you're itchy or something, you can scratch the itch and get back to focus. So that's what I mean. So just every single distraction, just write it down. Just write it down, even if it is less than 2 minutes, right? Okay. So don't check email during your deep work session. I've been harping on for this for way too long. So I'm just going to say, don't do it. Don't do it. Accountability partner. Sometimes the best thing you can do is actually have some sort of accountability system. So talk to your friend about, hey, I want to really massively reduce my distractions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to email my friend or text my friend and be like, yo, make sure I'm working, and then hold me to the consequences if you see me on Instagram or if you see me on Facebook or something. Like, call me up on it. So social pressure really does help. It's one of those like negative motivators, but sometimes it just works, and it's really a powerful thing. So I would try it out. Okay. So here is a possible tracker you could use. So what I like to do is I like to set targets, and then I like to record what I actually did. And then in the future, you can sort of adapt to what actually happened. So you actually know. And then it's also you'll have a record of how you're getting better, because over time, your mind will get better at focusing. And I've got the little quote at the bottom here: what gets measured gets improved. So make sure whatever you want to do, whatever you want to measure, make sure you're improving it, right? So whatever you measure will get improved. So make sure you measure it. If you want to improve something, make sure you measure it. Just measure it. Write it down, measure it. Okay. So, common desktop killers. I think just take a screenshot of this. Like, it's the same as the phone. Visible notifications, background processes, like popping up, right? So you want a clean environment. That'll equal a clean mind. Clean environment equals a clean mind. Okay. So the anchor. I always give an anchor at the end of my presentation, and what the anchor I want it to be is that willpower will always be beaten by the environment. So notice I said it backwards just to really get it in your head, just to throw you up a little bit. So I'll actually say what it says in the slides. Environment beats willpower, right? So you've got willpower, and then on top of that, you've got environment. So environment will always beat willpower. So stop relying on your discipline. Sometimes if you have good discipline, you can just brute force it, but that can be unsustainable after a while. So start designing for success. Make focus the default, not an exception, not the exception, right? So make sure the environment is set up so that you don't have to rely on willpower. Okay, cool. So exercise. Go back through the presentation, go back through the video, and set these up. Your physical environment, right? Remove all the distractions, remove all the clutter. Digital setup. Install focus apps. Configure the browser, right? And then the setup investment. Are you ready? So, time to build. 2-3 hours. The benefit. A lifetime of better focus. ROI. 1000x. Do it once daily. Benefits, right? So, don't immediately focus straight away. What I want you to do right now is spend the next 2 or 3 hours developing the environment, developing the tools, downloading the tools, putting them on. Have the program, have the plan set up. Make sure there's an SOP, a standard operating procedure, for you to focus, right? And then write it in a stone tablet. Make sure it is there forever. Make sure it is there forever. And then from then on, once it's built, always stick to it. Never deviate from the plan. Always stick to it. Always, always, always stick to it. Okay, so key takeaways. We're almost at the end of the presentation, so I really appreciate you for sort of sticking around. So, environment shapes your behavior. Bad environment equals a constant struggle. Good environment equals effortless focus. So build it right. Build it right. Okay, and the last slide is a quick final challenge. So I want you to set up a focus dashboard, right? Set up a focus dashboard. So that could be the stone tablet or whatever plan you came up with, right? And then test it for a 90-minute sprint. And write down how it went. And then keep that record, refine it the next day, and and then just keep iterating. And so it's important. I say the best time to start was yesterday. The second best time to start is now. So we missed yesterday. What you got to do is you got to start now. So make sure you have that stone tablet, the plan, go off right now, make it, and then once it's made, keep it there and stick to the plan and be focused. Okay, so that is the end of that. I hope you got some value from this, and I will see you in the next one.